How would you like to uncover one mistake that costs people millions of dollars and know how to eliminate it from your life once and for all, forever? Welcome to Ideas for Success, where one idea can make a world of difference. You know, one of the first things that I had to learn how to do when I was becoming successful as an entrepreneur was to get more stuff done in less time. Because after all, as a business owner, I don't get paid just for showing up and punching a clock. We get paid on results. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But with that opportunity comes, for a lot of people, a lot of confusion. Like, what do I do? And this is the number one thing that has slowed me down when I look back throughout my life and my career. Things that have slowed me down, the number one thing has been indecision, not being sure of what to do, and allowing the day to creep on, or the week or the month to creep on without accomplishing what I had intended to accomplish. I know you can relate to this because it's an affliction that affects everyone when they're not exactly clear on what to do next to move them in the direction of their goals. So I started working with mentors. I started seeking out wisdom from people they had been where I wanted to go, and they could teach me a little bit. And one of the things that I learned about early on was having something called a daily method of operation. And actually something that we can break down into just bite-sized chunks to eliminate overwhelm and to know exactly what to do, especially at the beginning of our day. Now, there have been books written on this subject. You can get into day planners, and you can take courses on this stuff, and time management, which really means more like activity management. But it really comes down to a morning routine. In other words, starting your day right to the point where you've now set the stage for how the rest of the day could go. So I started applying this in my own life, and the results were remarkable. Like going from a bit of confusion and doubt and indecision to, well, you know what, this is what I'm going to do because I've already decided. I don't need to decide again. It's already decided. In fact, I wrote it down, and so I could just look at what I wrote, and now I know what to do. It may sound too simple, but here's the thing. Successful people do this because the big success that we're looking for, whether it's making millions in business or getting in the best shape of your life or whatever it is as it relates to your own personal life ambitions, success comes from habits, not just from some big heroic effort. And a lot of times people look at others who have made their mark in an industry or in business or in some area of life, and they think, well, wow, that person's special. In fact, that's what led me to writing my first book, was a lot of people asking, for my secrets, as if it was some sort of a secret, how I got to where I had gotten in business. And actually, it wasn't a secret at all. It was just a collection of little habits that all added up to a pattern. Yes, a daily method of operation and a state of decisiveness when it comes to what do I do next. But it starts right when we get up, right? As soon as our eyes open. So I'm going to give you the formula that I use. In fact, there's a download, a little guide, just a one-page guide that will help you put this in motion immediately in your life without any need for going to long training courses or a whole lot of internal dialogue about it. You can just go ahead and follow the steps. There's only a few of them, and then you're going to have a definite plan of action to start your day every day. And by the way, this applies to weekdays and weekends. It's a beautiful process, and it's one that I think you're going to profit from immediately. So first thing is, when I get up in the morning, first thing I do is what we could call daily meditation and visualization. So you may have, of course, heard about things like this. I certainly didn't originate these ideas, but the habit of, as soon as you get up, seeing where you're going in your life. In other words, postulating and visualizing, here is my guaranteed future outcome. A lot of people talk about goals, and hopefully you have goals, because it's impossible to do this if you don't have some sort of a destination, something that you'd like to be, do, and have more in your life. So hopefully you've got that. If not, that's a topic for another episode. But let's say that you've got these ambitions, and at the same time, you're surrounded with all kinds of appearances, right, that suggest that you don't already have these things in your life. That's not real for you right now, whether it's a new car or a certain amount of money in your bank account or the ideal body that you've envisioned for yourself. Whatever it happens to be, right? There is evidence in your life that part of that isn't a reality yet. Okay, but success, my favorite definition of it, is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if we have that worthy ideal, if we've got that idea in mind of where we're going, and we consider that a guaranteed future outcome, and we start our day thinking on that as if it's already accomplished in the silence, right? Just being there, being quiet. Again, you can call this meditation, visualization. Don't get attached to the labels, okay? But that first action of the day, as soon as my eyes open, they close again. Yes, I've been quiet all night. I'm going to be quiet again. And you could start with small increments of time, or you could, like a lot of people suggest, get into like a half-hour meditation in the morning. You can do it again in the evening. Okay, especially if you're just starting off, though, don't attempt to overwhelm yourself with this. Better to be consistent. Remember, the habits are what gets it done, not, some big heroic effort, right? Just like when people say, oh, it's a New Year's resolution and I'm going to suddenly start going to the gym every day, right? And they go and they blast themselves out in the first day or two and they don't show up again. Okay, so you don't want to do that. It's not about heroics. It's about consistency. It's about developing habits. Because when we really boil it down, successful people have formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. That we could actually say is a secret of success, if there is such a thing. Okay, so this is a habit that you want to form. And with all the noise of the day, once you start your activities, you're going here, you're going there, you've got demands being made upon you, you've got the drama of life. Okay, so all that noise will still be there. But isn't it better to create from a blank slate? Right? Think about it like you've got a blank piece of paper, and every day you can write whatever you want. You can make a drawing. You can do whatever you want on that paper. But if that paper is already messed up with all kinds of markings and ink and stuff that other people threw on it, right? How creative can you really be? So that's why we start our day with that blank slate. So that's the first step. And in the guide that you can download here on this page or wherever you're seeing this, you can actually put in the time that you're going to do that. So this will also, simultaneously, as we're developing this new habit and we're deciding for ourselves that we're going to do this resourceful thing, it will also help us schedule our time because now we've got a bit more order. We've got a bit more discipline. Success loves order. In fact, success itself, we could say, is things in an orderly state, right? Not random, not disorder, but order. So let's say, all right, it's 6 a.m. Great, so every day at 6 a.m., weekdays, weekends included, you start your day with that. Okay, so that's the first thing, and then you can decide, and you can always adjust later, as you like, how much time you'll spend on that. Second thing is to do some sort of personal development study each day. So there's a few books you could see here, but I've got tons and tons of books. Last time I moved, I weighed my library, and it was about 1,200 pounds of books. Yes, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my own education after leaving government schools and all that. And so there's a wealth of knowledge that you can have from the greatest thinkers in history, and it's almost free. My goodness, you can grab a book, you can grab Kindle, you can put into your mind some of the best thinking that's ever been thought, and then we can think it again, right? So in fact, Johann Goethe said that all intelligent thoughts have already been thought. All we got to do is try and think them again. So once we've got that clear vision, we've quieted our mind, we've got a vision of where we're going, and it feels real to us, right? It's not just some pipe dream, it's a guaranteed future outcome. That's why we're getting up in the morning. That's what we're heading toward. Okay, now let's see what some of the great thinkers of history think, right? So you can go ahead and read a few pages, maybe a chapter a day. Again, this is based on whether or not you've been doing this up to this point, right? So tell somebody, go read 50 pages a day right after your morning meditation or something. Well, that might seem like too steep of a gradient. Wow, I'm climbing a mountain over here. Okay, so again, no need for heroics. If it's a page, 2 pages, whatever, that's still infinitely better than what most people do. Yes, most people who are attempting to reach goals, assuming they have any, they don't read. And I heard a saying that those who don't read are no better off than those who can't read. So, read. You want to go ahead and study. Now, there's also audiobooks. I know sometimes people, my coaching clients, ask about audiobooks. Yes, that's great when you're doing other activities, but there's value in the written word, actually studying what's written, the words that the author chose. And I always suggest, if you ever see a word that you wouldn't personally use in modern parlance, like in a normal conversation, then go ahead and look up that word. Make sure you get the full meaning, because we can't use what we don't understand. All right, so make sure you understand the words, and that's something you can do with the written text. Okay, so go ahead and start with a page or 2 pages of an inspirational book. There are many books, okay, that I could suggest. I'm sure you know of some right now that may be on your shelf right now, and maybe you feel smarter just seeing them there. Actually pick one up and start getting through it. So that's the second thing, is daily study. Once you've done your daily meditation, visualization, daily study to help fill your mind with those thoughts that once the day's pressures come upon you, what you put in is what comes out, right? You can lean on that stuff, and others have been there before you. So that's the second thing. The third thing that I do every day, weekdays, weekends, whatever, I get some exercise. I go to the gym. Personally, for me, I've going to the gym for like 30 years. Sure, I'll miss a day here and there, but sometimes people ask me, how many days a week do you go to the gym? I say, well, every day that I eat and sleep, I do some exercise. So I fed the body, I rested the body, I'm going to exercise the body. You know, our bodies as human beings, we're designed to have our life threatened 2 or 3 times a day. And yet here we are, we're not running from saber-toothed cats and in the jungle and, you know, eat what you kill and all this kind of stuff. We're not doing that anymore. We're staring at computer screens, we're watching Netflix or whatever you do. And yeah, we're not getting chased around. So it's become, as I'm sure you've heard, right? It's become a bit of an epidemic of this sedentary lifestyle and overweight, obesity, and all the other things that go along with that. Okay, well, that's something that we can totally take control of. We can take responsibility. We can accept responsibility for that. We've always had it. Okay, so now we can accept it, and we can do something with our body, which will get the endorphins going. We'll get that physiology up, right? Get into a higher state of action, right? Which sets the stage for the rest of the day. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what sort of an exercise regimen you need. And of course, if you've got medical considerations, consult with a professional on that. I'm telling you what I do. And what I do is I use my body before the busyness of the day impinges on me. And I do this first thing in the morning. Now, some people say, I go and I work out at night. Okay, if that's part of your already existing routine, you've developed a habit of that, bravo, right on. But again, even going and doing 5 minutes on a treadmill or something, which isn't like a high intensity action, although if you've been just doing nothing for years, it may appear that way at first. But even that, again, is infinitely better than what most people do, which is nothing. And once again, you may not find this comfortable, but successful people have formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. I don't always want to do it, right? I don't want to go to the gym and put my body in pain and lift heavy weights first thing in the morning after I meditate and read a little bit. Bam, I'm in the gym. Like, it's a shock to the body. It's uncomfortable, but I do it anyway. And as soon as I show up and as soon as my hands touch the iron, now I'm there. The good news is, because I wrote it down, like you're going to do on the sheet that you're going to download, because I wrote it down, it's not up for debate anymore. You know, if it isn't written, it isn't real. It's not happening. I can tell you that if it's not on my calendar, I don't even know that it exists. Okay, and so when I look at, here's what I've assigned for myself to do this day, and there it is. Go to the gym. It's on my calendar. Now it's going to get done. Now it's real. I don't have to think about it. There's no conversation about it. There's no debate. There's no decision to be made. It's already been made. See how great that is, right? So we're eliminating the procrastination, the indecision, the number one enemy of progress that keeps people from their goals and their greater good, right? We're eliminating that by just writing this stuff down, making decisions in advance, and just having the discipline and the integrity to do what we commanded ourselves to do, right? This is your show. You're in control. We're actually now accepting that control and accepting and applying that responsibility to actually get what we want. So the fourth thing, there's one more thing. The fourth thing, and this is especially true if you're a full-time entrepreneur, the fourth thing is to have the least favorite activity that you have to do, let's say on a daily basis or on a regular basis. Your least favorite activity is the first thing you complete after you're done with your workout, your exercise, running around the block, looking at trees or lifting weights or whatever it is. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to accomplish that one thing that's in the back of our mind that, you know what, we maybe like to put it off, or there's other things that are more fun to do, so let's do those first. No, let's get this off the table. Let's get it to a done. You know, I've often said my favorite 4-letter word in the English language is done. I've got other four-letter words I like too, but done is my favorite, right? So let's get that distasteful thing done. And maybe you've got a whole series of these things. Well, if there's something you can segment, let's say, for example, calling back clients, all right, I'm just making this up as I go, but let's say that you don't necessarily like to call clients. However, you're going to get one call done, right, and have that as sort of a badge of honor. Look, I did it, right? That's my integrity right there. Look, I did it, and you've overcome the inertia. We got to get off of zero. And with so many people I've worked with that never quite get off the ground with whatever worthy endeavor they're engaging in, a lot of times they're just sitting on zero. Really what we're talking about is inertia, right? An object at rest tends to stay at rest. Well, in this case, you could be that object, right? So we got to get off of zero as quickly as possible. We start every day at zero, but now, because of this morning routine, we know where we're going, right? If you don't got that, you got no shot, right? So you got to know where you're going. Great, so we've handled that. We studied some of the great thinkers of history, right? We put in some input. We got some ammo now, right? So now, our guns are loaded, so to speak. When the day starts happening, we've got good things that we can refer to. We've worked the body. So even if we sat and stared at a computer for the rest of the day, our integrity's in on that, right? Our body got some exercise. I mean, you're going to feed it, and you're probably going to sleep tonight. You might as well exercise the body. And then, look at that. Our integrity is intact again. We have overcome the inertia. We're now at 1 instead of 0. You see that? So this is something that you can start working into your life immediately, right? You don't need any big training courses. You don't need to really do anything except download the guide that I prepared for you. Write this stuff down, because here's what's going to happen. When you see it written down, you've just, number one, proven to yourself that you could take an idea in your mind, which could be a goal, or it could be a command that you're giving yourself to put some order in your life, right? You've taken that idea and you've reduced it to the physical plane of expression here. Look, there it is in writing. Now it exists in the physical world. The other thing you can do is you could take that, you can hang it in, let's say, your office space or bedroom or wherever, maybe show it to family members and say, hey, family, here's what I'm doing to do and have more in my life for myself and for us as a group. Okay, so just so you guys know, 6 o'clock in the morning, here's what I'll be doing. You'll be seeing me at the gym. You guys are welcome to join me. This could even turn into some nice family type actions, right? There's lots of things that people can do as groups, okay? But you as an individual right now is the main thing we're focusing on, because it all starts with you, right? So you can make this known, right? Here is my routine. That also can lend itself to some accountability, right? Because now people are expecting you. You said you were going to do this. Go be a person of integrity. Go do that, right? My wife knows that when that car leaves, she knows where I'm going. I'm going to the gym, and it's like clockwork. So you can create some positive expectations in your family environment or household environment, assuming that's the sort of environment you're in. And then finally, what you're going to have is the complete elimination of confusion about what to do, because it's written down, it's real, right? And you'll find that once you develop this habit, the more you develop it, you'll see yourself getting more stuff done in less time, which was the original thing, the first thing I had to learn how to do to become successful as an entrepreneur, is reduce the amount of time it takes to get stuff done, right? And the number one eater of time is indecision. That is the number one thing. We're going to have more conversations about this. So go ahead, once again, download the free guide that I prepared for you, and subscribe to, if you're seeing this on YouTube or on the podcast. You don't want to miss some of the stuff that I'm going to be showing you here on this series. So glad you tuned in, and I'd love to hear your feedback as well. So any comments and ideas and questions, please feel free to leave them. I'll look forward to seeing you on another episode real soon. Bye for now.